What's up, Ringside Nation? The Ring Boys are back, down one in the evening, here with my beautiful co-host, Doc. Doc, how we doing?
We're doing great. I'm back. Unlike Kamzat Chimaev, still back.
Well, within 2 weeks, we'll see if that's the story, and my man right here is going to silence the whole crowd. But yeah, a lot to talk about today. Obviously, the fight card, picks on the screen, yearly totals on your screen. Got some Conor McGregor talk. And UFC 310 announced, so we'll work through the agenda. Main event, Tetsuro Taira, absolutely fraud checked. Brandon Royval getting the win. Don't pay attention to my sheet saying Taira won. But yeah, Royval, I feel like, is turning into this fighter that is just going to be gatekeeping the division after like he falls or gets another title shot or whatever happens with his career from here on out. I feel like he's going to be like the Chris Curtis, the Neil Magny, just staying near the mountain and hang and bang. But I don't think Brandon Royval still has enough to run it back for a title shot, especially with the flyweight announcement in 310, which we'll get into with Asakura and Pantoja. But Doc, what do you think? What do you think about just Royval and Tetsuro Taira and where they go from here?
Well, before I talk about that, I disagree with you. I mean, Brandon Royval just beat Brandon Moreno. That was like a huge fight. I think he has a chance against Pantoja, and what he did against Tetsuro Taira, nobody else has been able to do. Taira has been able to take down everybody easily at will, throw in submissions, and Brandon Royval, although he got taken down, he was able to adjust mid-fight. In that fifth round, he put on a hell of a performance. And I was incredibly impressed by Brandon Royval. He's clearly been working on a lot. He's confident in his own abilities. And I think that he's more than like a Neil Magny. He's kind of like a Max Holloway in the featherweight division type thing, where like there was Volk for all that time and Max Holloway would beat literally everybody except for Volk. That's what I feel like with Brandon Royval right now. And the way that he performed last night and how Pantoja performed in his last fights, I think there's a chance here for Brandon Royval to actually win.
Doesn't have that dog in him.
Disagreement.
He doesn't have that dog in him. I just don't think he has what it takes to fly up and get back up there. I think that Moreno fight proved that he's still legit. Tetsuro Taira is a big name who just got the O taken from him. But I don't know what it is. Like, he just doesn't have the clutch factor. Like, when he gets at the top, when he has to go 5 rounds and go 5 rounds with Pantoja or Asakura, I just can't. I can't see myself putting money on him. I'm sorry.
I mean, he said it in his interview. He's beaten the whole top 5. What else do you want? He's beaten the whole top 5. He deserves his title shot. And who's Asakura? Asakura hasn't fought UFC.
I'm not debating if he needs the title shot or not. I'm debating that we're wasting time when setting it up. I don't think he's going to win. I think he's, he's more than deserving. If you look at the resume, he's going to get the title shot. I don't think he's going to win. I really don't. And I'm just sick and tired of getting all this hype train behind Brandon Royval for him to let me down every time.
I don't know. I'm excited about him, and Tetsuro Taira was the hype train. And he's had some great performances, and I think he did really, really well. And this was a huge step up in competition. And as Brandon Royval said, this guy could be a future champion here. He's super young. He's like 24. So he still has tons of time to grow. He can continue working on his wrestling. He can continue working on his striking, his submissions, and he'll be back there. But for the longest time, Davison Figueiredo was in charge of this division. I never thought that he would lose. Brandon Moreno came around. Alessandro Pantoja came around. Pantoja has almost lost multiple times at this point. So you throw Brandon Royval, that looks way better than the last time he fought any of these top level people in there. He's clearly been working on it. I think he does have that dog in him. I think that he is really fighting for this chance because he believes he deserves it. And I would not be shocked to see him as the champion after that performance.
I would. He's lost to Pantoja twice. I hate trilogies when it comes to this, but that's just a personal vendetta. Mainly because he took Tetsuro Taira and needed the fantasy points. That's all I'm on today. Nonetheless, big emergences from Grant Dawson, Ramazan Tamirov, Temba Garimbo, and Clayton Carpenter. So shout out to us all hitting our locks of the card. Ramazan, Temba, Grant Dawson. I think that's the second card in a row, Doc, that we've had locks of the card hit. Maybe we might have to start betting hot. Maybe we got the hot hand to close out the year. Get rid of these curses. Get some parlays in. No? One thing I can tell you that we won't talk about or won't be happy to talk about is Conor McGregor getting airtime on the show once again. In Abu Dhabi for the bare knuckle, Conor McGregor obviously wilding out per usual and announcing something that was pretty eye-catching to me, Doc, that he's going to fight Dan Hooker in February. There's been no confirmation about this. There's been no substantial evidence of a card in Abu Dhabi in February on Fight Island. And I'm just sick and tired of hearing it, so I wanted to bring it forth. Are you interested in Conor McGregor, Dan Hooker? And if you're Dan Hooker, do you take this fight?
If I'm Dan Hooker, absolutely I'd take this fight. Am I interested in it? No, because I think Conor McGregor is gonna get knocked out. Conor McGregor to me is just like John Jones. Unless if it's Saturday at like 9 p.m. and he is in the arena, I don't expect him to fight. So let's see it happen. Conor McGregor says that he's been working on a lot of stuff. He's not the fighter that he used to be. He still brings people into the seats. He's a great guy on the mic in the press conferences, but he's not a scary fighter anymore because he's been knocked out multiple times here recently. I think this matchup is worse for him than Michael Chandler would have been. I think he could have had a chance against Michael Chandler. What Dan Hooker did in his last fight against Gamrot, I don't think many people were expecting, and he put on a show that this was like a resurgence in his career, brings him back up into the top 5, and I'm excited to see Dan Hooker, and he is willing to bang with Conor McGregor. So let's see it happen. And this will be just good money for Hooker. This isn't a legacy fight for
Cash
Hooker.
grab.
He doesn't
Cash
need
grab.
this. Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine. McGregor knows that that's what he brings to people. Everybody that calls out McGregor randomly, they know that it's for the money, and that's fair game. Because not some people here, like, Dan Hooker's not going to beat Islam Makhachev. So if Islam Makhachev is in the lightweight division, Dan Hooker is not champion. So he can make all the money he wants right now until Islam decides to switch divisions, and then Dan Hooker can try to fight for a title. But while Islam is here, nobody's winning that title. So go ahead, make your money. Dan Hooker has done so much for the organization and for his prior organization as well. So he can make whatever money he wants. He makes all of his fights interesting. He's a crazy man. We saw that in the last fight. So go ahead, fight McGregor. But I don't believe any fight with McGregor is happening. So we'll see where that goes.
I couldn't agree with you more. And this brings me to my segue. I'll discuss the lightweight division. With 310 just announced, Bilal Muhammad's going to fight Shavkat Rakhmonov. On that card as well, Charles Oliveira is going to fight Michael Chandler, seemingly for the number 1 contender. As rumored are right now with Arman the suspension, he is slated to fight Islam top of the next year. If there is any truth to that, those are the permutations. Dan Hooker at 5. I don't know, Doc. Maybe he does have a title shot coming up. Maybe he does want to take the Conor McGregor, get the money, and then go back to training, get the hype train going, and then say, hey, I'm good for the UFC. Schedule me for a title shot. This is what people want to see. I don't think Conor McGregor will make weights. I don't think Conor McGregor can pass a drug test, and I don't think Conor McGregor would win past the first half of the first round. So
yeah, it's hard to say. We haven't seen him in there in forever. So
yeah,
who's the last person he beat? Like 40-year-old cowboy Cerrone.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm sick and tired of it. Not to skip over 309 and John Jones fighting Stipe, but 310 does look like a banger. Shavkat versus Bilal. And just a lot of final movements, a lot of movements at the top now. We get to see finally for the welterweight division. I know people were upset that Kamaru Usman didn't get the call, but I think it's clear that Shavkat was definitely ready to go and was more deserving of this title shot. So I don't know. Maybe Bilal's title defense may be short-lived. We'll have to wait and see in December. But yeah, those are the points I wanted to bring up. 310 looks like a really good card to close out the year. We got 308 this month, 309 the next month. Finally getting the pay-per-views announced and called. And unfortunately, I think my birthday weekend, there's like a Edmonton, Canada card, so I will not be watching that. Hopefully, I will be celebrating my birthday, but yeah, pretty short episode. Doc, any other aspects or points that you wanted to bring up throughout what I brought up?
Just a few things about Bilal versus Shavkat. I think that's a fantastic matchup. I think that if Bilal wins that, that's enough for me to be like, hey, he's a real champion. People are questioning whether or not he could have beaten Leon under normal circumstances, not fighting at 3 a.m. or whatever the UFC decided to do. But if he can beat Shavkat, I mean, that's enough for me to be like, hey, Bilal, you've earned this. You've worked really hard. You're not the same fighter you were 3 years ago. All of that. And then you just like made me remember about the lightweight division. You know, you're talking about Dan Hooker at 5. Don't forget Rafael Fiziev, lightweight guy coming off of injury. He's going to be back eventually. And this is someone that I still think, even though he's had a few losses here recently, that can become lightweight champion given his excellent striking. I just saw a video of how he knocked out Renato Moicano, who's now all of a sudden going on this tear, and he seems to be the real deal. That lightweight division is kind of like the NFC North in football, best division.
Bears fan this one. But yeah, no, I completely agree. I really want to see Dan Hooker get potentially a title shot, but we'll have to wait and see. I wouldn't mind watching him, knock out Conor McGregor in 20 seconds, hopefully. But yeah, no, it's Conor McGregor talk, so we had to discuss it. Nonetheless, Michel Pereira fighting Anthony Fluffy Hernandez next weekend. We'll do a post show for that. Pre-show and a post show for 308. A few episodes coming for you boys and gals. And yeah, Doc, sign off statement. Let's hear it.
I didn't get to talk about my fantasy team because I was off of that episode, but
you want to talk about it right
UFC
now?
event proved what should have happened. I think I got 12 points. Excellent performance. In the lead, going to keep this lead throughout the rest of the year and become the first ever Ring Boys fantasy champion. All I'm saying, it's an early call out, but it's going to happen.
We'll have to wait and see. Maybe we have that championship clause if I can maybe sneak something. No, I can't. I just looked. Yeah, I can't get anything. All right. Well, we'll catch you all next weekend, and peace.